Hey, everybody, here we are once again. Yes, we're not hungover from last night. If you saw last night's almost 4-hour thought.
Yeah, that shit went over by about an hour. I didn't realize we had gone on that long though.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a fun show. I mean, as fucked up as that is, of a show about like fucking war atrocities, but I mean, we had some fun digressions and fun moral discussions and shit, like some good like discussion in the comment section. Again, the shit is lagging. I don't know what to do about it.
And I was clicked onto it in the waiting section and it never started. I had to fucking back out and get back in it.
Yeah, you had to do that before though, right?
I don't know what it is. I don't know why it does it. Other people seem to be going in.
Must be you.
Yeah.
Your shit's messed up.
Thomas is in there. Mango Badger's in there.
Hi, you guys.
What's up? All right, now I've got 7 in there. They're all piling in.
Hi,
Deborah's
Deborah.
in.
Hi.
What's up, Deborah?
We're so just edified that all y'all just come in here and listen to us blather every day.
All the regulars.
I don't even.
Tammy said yesterday's show was great. Yeah, we had fun.
I'm glad it was great. I don't remember some of the shit at the end, but it's like
shit. Don't
I always? Yeah. Well, I drank a lot more than, because usually I just have 1 or 2 on the show. I think I was on my 3rd one by the end of that. But weirdly, I didn't.
She gets combative when she drinks sometimes.
Sometimes.
Yeah, she gets combative.
Depends if I'm.
I don't know how to deal with it though. I don't exacerbate it. I just go, okay, all right.
I remember talking about how much it irked me that when I put on a sweater in my office and you're like, why? And you're like, why are you wearing a sweater? It's not cold in here.
Yeah, it's not cold in here. You're like 75. It's like, well, you got a sweater on. It's not cold in here. Fuck you. Don't tell me when I'm cold. Don't tell me if I'm cold or not. I'm cold. It's not cold. Though. It's 75.
It's not. Warm. You don't live in the body, so you don't know. It's like,
non-circulatory.
It's non-circulatory bitches. I think that's what you said last time.
Yeah,
I remember that.
You can't fucking circulate. Circulate that heat, man. Circulate the blood.
Well, it's weird because I'm not, and I know that that's kind of like a cliche that like women are always cold and stuff. I'm not. I'm usually like too warm.
Yeah.
I don't like, I don't like being too warm.
Yeah.
But for some reason, just in my office is cold. I don't know why. I think it's just
my ex-wife is fucking all this fucking coldness about her feet. Or at least you never complain about her feet.
Yeah.
Her feet were always cold.
It's not my feet that are cold. I'm just cold all over. Yeah. But usually it's just when I'm in my office. When I'm sitting in the bedroom or something like that, it's like usually I'm too warm.
She's like, my feet are cold. Now you got 3 pair of fucking socks on. It's fucking,
what's the matter with you?
3 pair of socks on. It's fucking 75 degrees in here. What do you mean? Fucking feet are cold.
I would rather be cold. I would rather be cold than be warm, though.
Yeah.
I really do not like being too warm.
Good.
All right. So what we're going to be talking about today is yet another Shudder exclusive. This is an Indonesian movie called Impetigore.
Yeah, I liked this movie.
This was actually very good.
Yeah, and it's funny because you see, Indonesia, and you're thinking, oh, it's probably a cheap ass fucking flick. This movie's fucking better than a Hollywood movie.
It was really beautiful.
Shot
looking.
Real well.
I have to say, like a lot of the movies that we've seen lately, even though they were low budget and stuff like that, everybody's up in their cinematography game because a lot of them are like really, really nice looking movies.
Yeah, and the guys who made this movie, they know Kubrick and they know The Shining. They've seen a lot of movies.
Yeah,
because you can see the
influence.
The influence in terms of how shit was shot and how it was filmed. And it's not a knockoff movie. It had a lot of unique features to the movie. The tone was kind of unique, and it looked like a fucking big budget Hollywood movie. And they were fucking hardcore, skinning people alive. I mean, they didn't really show it, but they let you know it happened.
Yeah, they kind of showed some of it, or the aftermath and stuff. Yeah. It's not like over the top gory, but it doesn't shy away from gore either.
Kind of like cross between The Shining, some kind of movie about a curse, and then like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, all kind of combined.
Can I just say I love curse movies?
Yeah,
I just really like that whole idea.
This family of people out in the middle of nowhere, fucking trying to deal with this curse, and then to do it, they got to skin people. And I don't want to like.
Yeah, I'll give like a rundown, but I'm not gonna spoil it too much.
Creepy ass Indonesian rednecks out in the middle of fucking. you know how like in Texas Chainsaw Massacre, you got the creepy fucking hillbillies and shit. but they got Indonesian versions of that going on in this.
Yeah, you little weirdos like living in some little village out in the middle of nowhere. There's only like 100 people living in this little fucking village, and you can only get there by like a horse-drawn carriage and shit.
Yeah,
because there's like no road.
Bunch of weird ass fucking Indonesian rednecks.
Essentially.
Basically.
What I didn't realize until I went and did a little bit of research about this movie is that the guy that made it, the director, Joko Anwar, he actually also made Satan's Slaves, which is actually a remake of a very popular cult horror movie, Indonesian, that came out in the early 80s, 1980 or 1982, I believe. And I do think that Satan's Slaves is also on Shudder, or it was last time I looked. So I will probably have to watch that as well because it's the same director. This guy also did like a superhero movie, like I think last year, but came back into horror to do this one. Now, what the story is, I have to say that like the opening, you know how sometimes you see a movie and it's like kind of a slow like opening and you just like it kind of takes you a while to like catch the wave. This one did not have that problem. I think you missed the beginning scene because when you came back in, I told you, I was like, oh man, you should have seen like the beginning because it was like dynamite. Yeah,
I missed like the first 30 seconds of the damn movie.
No, you missed more than that. It was probably like the first 5 to 10 minutes.
I had to go out and do something. I forgot what it was I was doing.
Yeah, I don't remember what you were doing.
Then I came back in. It didn't matter though. I still got into it.
Yeah, you still got into it. But I just have to say, like, the opening sequence of this was like really, really good. I mean, it really like sucked you right into the story. So basically what happens at the very beginning is that there's these two girls who are friends. One of them is named Maya and one of them is named Dinny. And they work at like a toll booth. Like they're both in like little toll booths. I don't know if it's an airport or whatever it is. I don't think it matters. Or a parking lot. And they're kind of working there overnight and they're complaining about how they don't have any money. And it's like, this is a boring job and shit like that. They're talking to each other over their cell phones. And then this car pulls up. And Maya says to Denny, she's like, man, I've seen this car like all the time. And I think this dude might be stalking me or something. It's like super creepy. And, you know, the guy's like paying and he's like all creepy and everything. And she's like, oh man, what the fuck? This is like really fucked up. And he just like looks like he's going to lurk and stay there. And then finally this other truck comes and you think that he's kind of scared away. And she's like, oh, shoot, you know, she's all relieved and shit. But then after the truck leaves, then she kind of looks out the window and the car is still over there. And then the guy gets out of the car and then he starts like coming toward her and he's like attacking her. And he starts saying like all this really weird shit. Like he says something about, we don't want what your family left behind. That's what he says. And he starts like attacking her. So it's like this really, really good, like compelling opening.
Yeah. And I say that they're Indonesian fucking rednecks like it's not so over the top like Texas Chainsaw Massacre or Devil's Rejects. We're not talking about that.
Yeah, it's not like this is a very serious tone movie.
It's serious.
It's not funny.
Just some fucking creepy ass country people, and you can't figure out what the fuck they're doing, you know. But you'll see. Yeah,
it's like a mystery because so basically what ends up happening. I mean, the only funny thing in it is that the friend Denny is actually kind of like a wise ass. You know what I mean? Which I kind of liked. I kind of liked her character because Maya was like a little bit more serious. So they figure out, they're like, well, Maya didn't know who her parents were. I guess she'd been raised by an aunt. So she kind of delves a little into her history and she finds out that her parents are from like this little bitty town, like out in bumfuck nowhere. And that they might have been wealthy and that they might have owned a house out there and that she might like inherit it. So her and her friend decide to go out to the village to, you know, check it out and see, it's like, hey, maybe we've got a big inheritance coming or whatever. So they go out to this village, which like I said, is out in the middle of fucking nowhere. You can't even like, there's not even really a road. It's just like a dirt road out to it. And so they get to this village and they don't want to say like who they are. So they just like say that they're students, like anthropology students or something. And they're like, you know, studying. Cause the one guy that's like the head of the village does this ancient shadow puppetry thing. They have a name for it, but I can't remember what it is. And so they say that they're there studying that and they heard that this guy was the best or whatever. So when they get there, like everybody's acting like super sketch. And then there's like all of these graves that appear to be children. And there are like no children running around in the village, which they think is a little creepy. And so the mystery kind of evolves from there. It's like who her parents were, like what ended up happening in this village, you know, how there's maybe a curse and how, you know, maybe some people get skinned along the way. And, and various things happen of that nature. But yeah, this is just like a really, I mean, other that really great opening is just like, so it just like sucks you right into the story. And then it kind of like pulls back a little bit and like kind of goes more into like a slow burn kind of mode, but like creepy. And like it's just like amping up the mystery as they're like getting to this town, and you're like, what the fuck is the deal with everybody? And
the tone for me was kind of like The Shining. That's what it was. That's kind of what the tone.
It did have a bit of that vibe.
It had some scenes where it went a little more over the top than what The Shining does. Like, you know, there's some special effects scenes, and of course there's some kind of gore and stuff that. But there was something about it that kind of they were trying to be kind of Kubrickian. Like that's the way it felt to me.
Although not
all the way.
Yeah.
I could tell that there was an influence there.
And it was more, it didn't have like the chilliness, I guess, of a Kubrick movie.
No, it
was
didn't have
more
that
like
cold.
It was a lot of like warmth because it's
Yeah.
it's very yellow and red, and it had like a lot of warm.
Something about Kubrick though, man, that kind of, like you said, that cold clinical feeling to it, man. I liked it.
I do too. Like I understand how some people might think it's off-putting, but I don't find it very off-putting.
No.
You know,
I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's like, you know, everyone's mileage may vary, and I get what people are saying when they say, because a lot of the people say the same thing. I think we talked about this before about David Cronenberg, but I don't really. Yeah, I like that too. It doesn't bother me. It doesn't make it so that I can't emotionally connect with the characters or anything like that. So, I mean, maybe it does for some people.
The Cronenberg stuff is supposed to make you feel slightly alienated from the movie.
Yeah, that's kind of what it. And I feel like, I mean, Cronenberg in particular, he's not particularly interested in. I feel like he's not really interested in an emotional connection with the characters. Like you said, he's trying to isolate us from the people in the movie, or trying to isolate the people in the movie from each other. So you get that kind of sense of alienation. Whereas Kubrick, I think, kind of gets shit on for that, but I don't really think that that's what he's doing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because I mean, look at The Shining, look at Wendy's character, who's like super over the top emotional. And, you know, and you feel for her, you could, you know, well, most people do. And you have an emotional connection with, so I don't feel like, you know, I don't feel that kind of like disconnection at all.
We're going into other directors, though. We got to stay on this movie.
Yeah, I know. But
this movie here, we can't really say a whole lot about it because I don't want to spoil it.
Yeah, I don't want to spoil it because I definitely,
it's a good movie.
Yeah, I definitely do feel like, I guess this premiered last year, I guess, at a film festival, like a lot of these do. And it just came to Shudder like a few days ago.
Yeah.
And like I said, they have another one of his movies, Satan's Slaves, which is a remake / prequel from what I could gather. So now that I've seen this one, I actually kind of want to go back and see that one because I haven't watched that one yet. I didn't realize it was the same director. But I mean, look at all the cool fucking... I mean, Shudder's really good for having classics and for having new stuff. They have a lot of really good foreign horror too.
Yeah.
And we've seen a lot of really good foreign horror on there, like, you know, The Pool, which was the Thai one that we reviewed the other day, that was fun. Which I really loved. I thought that was fantastic. And this one is like, you know, not like a monster movie. This one's more like a creepy, like slow burn curse type thing. So it's not exactly the same as that. But I mean, just the cinematography is gorgeous. You know, the imagery, like it has like really creepy like imagery. Like I said, not over the top gory, but it doesn't like shy away from it either. Like I feel like a lot of it's done through implication.
Yeah. I just think it's fucking hilarious what the apocalypse is like. I mean, you know, fucking the major theater chains fucking collapse and everything going on fucking, you know, stream on demand, all these fucking new services like Shudder. I fucking love it. And then it allows you to fucking see movies from the other side of the world. And you have a developing nation like fucking Indonesia. Normally you would associate that with some fucking crappy ass films back in the 70s and the 80s. You're like, I don't want to see that shit. But now they fucking can. Technology is everywhere, and everybody sees what everybody else is doing, and they know who, you know, what good film looked like. And bam, Indonesia can fucking bring it. I mean,
that is one of the
this movie looked like a top-notch Hollywood flick.
Yeah, you would never know. Like if it was, you know, if you could somehow dub it into English without anybody realizing that it was dubbed into English, you would never know.
Yeah, that
it was like from a foreign country or anything like that. It wasn't like
everybody has high technology now.
That's what I'm saying.
To it,
well,
so
that's like the best. That is the best thing.
Yeah.
One of the best things to come out of the internet and to come out of like all this technology being really cheap and really accessible to everybody is now you're getting, in some ways you almost have the opposite problem where now there's like too much good stuff like to wade through. It's like I have stacks of movies that I still have to watch. I have stacks of books I still want to read. I just have like stacks of stuff that I want to get to, and I just feel like will never have time.
What fucked up Hollywood? Hollywood got fucked up in a couple different waves. The first wave was like in the 70s. You had these tired old fucking crusty directors. They only wanted to do cop flicks and shit. All right. And Westerns. You know what I mean? And they had a very formula way of doing things for these studios. And then a new wave came. That was like Spielberg and Lucas and all these guys. And they were kind of the independent dudes. And they took over. Well, now they're kind of aging out. And then the new guys that are coming in, I just don't find them to be talented. It used to be that Hollywood kind of had a monopoly on the technology you needed to make a badass movie. And they kind of cornered the market on that for a while. Now everybody has it.
Yeah.
So now it's survival of the fittest. It's now
it's democratized.
It's now the technology is democratized, and now it's sink or swim, natural selection, survival of the fittest. A good, talented young director and good writers can get their hands on the technology you need to make a fucking film that could blow a fucking Hollywood studio away.
And I mean, like I said, if they can get it to a festival or they can get it to a streaming service, like millions of people can see it, which that's just amazing. That's unprecedented.
And I don't like Hollywood. I'm not a fan of fucking Hollywood right now, mostly because they're fucking shutting off creativity. They're blocking They're trying to act like a gatekeeper, like it's fucking 1970s and 1980s. And they're, you know what I mean? And they're limiting their own. It's a racket. That's what it is. It's racketized. You know, they're going to say, oh, we're going to make this movie, and this movie, and you can't touch it. And I just don't like that shit. It's not creative. It's too corporate.
Yeah.
But now that corporate bullshit is not going to survive. You have to be creative to make a good movie now. Just the way it's going to be.
Yeah. Well, that's okay.
Yeah. That's good for us as viewers.
Yeah.
We now have access.
Like I said, I have a huge list. I wrote a huge list of like all the shit that I want to watch, and new stuff comes out all the time. Yep. So it's like, I wanted to address, like Thomas Carlyle said, it's a great sci-fi horror on Netflix called The Endless. I have actually seen that. That is fantastic. It's kind of cosmic horror a little bit.
I haven't seen it.
Yeah, I really, really liked it. It kind of reminded me a little bit of The Void, but not quite. You know what I mean? The Void was more like a monster movie. This one was more like cosmic horror in like the old school sense. But yeah, that was like really good. So yeah, if you guys haven't seen that one, that is one I would dedefinitely recommend. I mean, shit, man. I was talking about this on the show last night, but one thing I'm thinking about doing is either starting on Halloween or starting at the beginning of next year. I want to start doing like maybe a weekly or bi-weekly like book review, like horror books. I was mostly new ones, but old ones as well. So it's like I ordered like a whole bunch, and I have like Kindle Unlimited like subscription. So it's like there's books on there I can read. So I have a huge list already of almost a year's worth of shows.
Okay. Well, I like how it's going. I don't like these Hollywood fucking executives blocking me from seeing shit that I want to see. Back in the old world, there never would have been, say, like Blood Machines. How cool that was.
Yeah, that's a cool fucking
That's a fucking
series.
Cool flick. You know what I mean? And that could have never come about without the democratization of all this technology and this new survival of the fittest fucking mentality. You know what I mean? Which that's what has to happen.
Yeah.
No more gatekeepers.
I mean, and like I said, you know, you're going to get a glut of shit also.
Yeah, you're going to get shit, but that shit was already there.
Shit was already there. And that was the same thing that happened, like, you know, when punk got big, like in the 70s, when it got cheaper to like record your own music. You know, there was a lot of good shit, but there was a lot of crappy shit.
But it's gone. That's forgotten.
And and that's kind of the same of what will happen. Yes, there's like a lot of shit that comes out, but that's kind of true of any era. The good stuff will.
Some of this shit that's coming out though is better than a lot of the so-called good expensive stuff. Like remember the one? What was the one with the shark one? No, Velocipaster. Velocipaster was fucking hilarious.
I loved it.
And that was.
I loved it so much.
It was good writing. It was good writing, and they understood the genre. Kung Fu dinosaurs and shit with ninjas.
I mean, you can't go wrong with
that. And then just the fucking ironic way it was shot.
Like I said, they leaned
They
into
knew
that
exactly what they were doing.
I mean, we did watch like we watched Ouija Shark and we reviewed that. We started watching Shark Exorcist, but I just couldn't get through it. Because that's the thing. It's like there's a lot of those shitty movies and they're fun. Oh my gosh, thank you very much, Mango Badger.
Thank you very much, man.
And they're fun to watch, but some of them like it's just like a couple fun scenes and then the rest of it's filler. Velocipaster is not like that.
No, you guys want to see if you like 80s kung fu flicks, action flicks. And like the real cheap shit, you know what I mean? If you're into the fucking Kumite and everything, you got to see Velocipaster because I
really love it. And it's on Tubi for free. Yeah. We were just talking about that beforehand because one of the next movie retrospectives we're going to do, the last movie retrospective we did, Ninth Configuration, the William Peter Blatty movie, was also on Tubi for free. And the one we're going to do this week is also on Tubi for free. The thing about Tubi is they have a metric fuck ton of horror movies, which is great. Yeah. But there's a lot of shit on there. Yeah. So you really kind of have to know. But then then there's like really good shit on there too. Like fucking Triangle is on there, which is a fantastic kind of mindfuck kind of movie. Yeah. So there's like all this really good shit on there, but you really have to know what you're looking for. That's why I kind of go to like videos and lists and be like, what's the best horror movies on Tubi right now? So I don't have to scroll through like 40 bajillion, Shark Exorcists to get to something good because there's so many. It's like, you don't know like which ones are good and which ones are going to suck. It's kind of hard to tell.
Mango Badger, his shirt got shipped out, didn't it?
Not yet because I don't have the size or the address.
Okay.
I don't have the size or the address.
All right. Yes.
When I have a size or an address,
you're going to get some shirts.
I will send you some shirts.
Yeah. He's UK, right?
Mango Badger. Yes.
Yeah. Send Jenny a private message on Facebook.
Yeah. That is probably the best way.
What size you want. And I'm gonna send you a couple shirts.
Yeah.
All right.
Because we got a few more that I got to mail out.
I'll send you we'll send you a 13 o'clock one because he doesn't have one of those coming, does he?
No, because like I said, I don't have the sizes or the what you call them.
I'll send you a 13 o'clock one, or I'll send you a Snake Plissken one on top of that. I'll give you a choice between Snake Plissken or Wayland Yutani. So you can say I got a Wayland Yutani one. It's got 13 o'clock on it also in the back.
Yeah, on the back.
So either this one or Snake Plissken.
Yeah. Thomas Carlisle says, I don't think Tubi works in the UK. I was wondering about that because I kind of feel like, that's kind of a shame because, I mean, they don't just have a shit ton of horror movies. They have a shit ton of everything. TV shows, like all kind of different documentaries.
Yeah, all the Gordon Ramsay.
Cult movies. Yeah, they have pretty much every Gordon Ramsay show, like UK Kitchen Nightmares, US Kitchen Nightmares, The F Word.
Yeah, all of them.
Like Hell's Kitchen, everything.
Hell's Kitchen, I mean, yeah.
Like all of his shows they have on there. And it's like they just have tons of series, tons of shit like that. And it's like you have to watch commercials, but not that many. It's like usually just a short commercial break at the beginning, and then they'd be one every like half an hour or something. It's just like one or two commercials. It's no big.
That's why he's asking me earlier on if he was asking me if there was an Indonesian Trump. And I think he was because I was saying that Indonesian had about the movie was about Indonesian rednecks. Trump is not a redneck. Trump is a Yankee. He's from up north. We revoked his redneck privileges. You can't be a redneck unless you're from the South.
Yeah, well,
you can try to be one.
They have redneck equivalents in other nations, though. Yeah, like they're just not called the same thing.
It's different, though. A northern redneck would be called a hillbilly. That's a hillbilly.
Yeah.
All right, we don't have hillbillies in the South. That's up in the north.
Well, and out west, I kind of feel like they call them hillbillies out west too. Well, like hills have eyes.
That's not what we called them. we called them because I'm from when I was in California, we called them Hicks.
Yeah,
Hicks.
Well,
yeah. But I think Hicks are gone now because California's fucking packed full. I don't think there are any. Yeah, up north there's probably country areas of California, but I don't think the original inhabitants are there anymore. I think all the Hicks have moved away. Probably went to fucking Oklahoma or something.
Yeah. Mango Badger saying I've been watching Shudder and the amount of classic horror is amazing. I have heard, and I don't know if it's improved since then, but I've heard that Shudder UK doesn't have as many and doesn't have the same movies as Shudder US because
it
didn't like last I heard because I did hear some like UK people like bitching about it. It's like, oh, well, that's not on ours, or it's like, we don't have as many.
A few weeks back, somebody said that or a few months back, somebody said, oh, they finally added a bunch of stuff to it.
And I think, and I'm not sure if this will work, but if you have a VPN, you can probably watch any Shudder from any country in the world. Same with Netflix, because that's the thing. Like sometimes Netflix UK has stuff that we don't have and vice versa. But I think if you get a VPN, you can watch whatever country's Netflix you want. So you can,
VPN would also get you into Tubi.
I would imagine.
Yeah, it should.
And Shudder too. Like I said, I don't know, because I know that there's a UK version of Shudder, there's a UK version of Netflix. I don't know if there's a UK version of Tubi. You know what I'm saying?
Tubi is like the internet equivalent of the fucking local dime store video VHS rentals. Like where you go to watch the fucking worst possible fucking VHS movies when you were a kid. Remember that? Those? Like sub-Blockbuster. It's like the shit that fucking was gone from Blockbuster, but you still want to see it.
There's a lot of kind of sub-asylum knockoff stuff, like Sharkcano and like all that kind of shit. Yeah. There's a lot of that on there.
Yeah.
But some like I said, some of it's unwatchable because it's like somebody just made it on their iPhone or whatever. But it's like you really have to look and you really have to curate the shit, because there's a ton of good shit on there too. I mean, and there's a ton of classic shit on there too. Like the original Suspiria is on there, like some other Dario Argento. There's like, so you really have to kind of wade through and separate the wheat from the chaff, because there actually really is a lot of good stuff on there, but there's so much other stuff that you have to like dig through.
Best asylum flick was fucking Nazis at the Center of the Earth. You guys got to see that one. I think I've recommended it many times.
I did really
Nazis
like
at the Center of the Earth. That's a fucking
What was that other one that was kind of similar? Was Frankenstein's Army?
Yeah, that was good.
Frankenstein's
Really
Army?
Good. Yeah.
That was kind of similar.
That wasn't Asylum though.
No, that's true.
Yeah.
I get confused because since Asylum was so popular, like, and making so much money, I feel like now every like really small studio is trying to do the same thing.
Yeah.
Where it's like, well, look what happened with like Ouija Shark, where they were just kind of like, well, everybody makes Ouija board movies and everybody makes shark movies, so we're gonna like mash that shit up. And so I kind of feel like that's what all these smaller studios are trying to do. Like they're trying to catch the wave of like the next Asylum. I think they have like a hat and then they write down shit like tarantula and, lava flow. And they write down like natural disasters and animals and shit and just put it all in a hat. And then they just pick them out and make a movie.
The best thing about Nazis at the Center of the Earth is that it was true to German science fiction of the 20s and the 30s. That had influenced the Nazis and all the other stuff, that all the Nazi science fiction lore that happened after the Nazis, like the Nazi Bell. I think that was kind of in there. Everything.
They knew, whoever wrote that movie, they knew their shit.
They knew the shit very well. They knew about Vril. They knew about Hollow Earth stuff, the Vril, the Coming Race, that book. They, which the Nazis really liked that book, evidently.
Yeah.
And I would call it is a science fiction, horror, fantasy adventure, but it's also kind of authentic in a way. The Nazis would have liked it.
Probably.
Yeah.
Plus, it's batshit insane.
It's fucking insane. Yeah, it's fucking insane.
In the best possible way. But yeah, so if you have Shudder, I don't know if this movie is on Shudder UK, but it's definitely on Shudder US. It's called Impetigore, and it's an Indonesian movie, and it's really good. Like, I really recommend it if you're into foreign horror. Check out The Pool too. We've reviewed that one. I like that one a lot. That was a Thai movie. But yeah, so we'll probably stream again tomorrow, probably do another movie review. I'm going to look for something else new to watch this evening that we can review tomorrow. And I think I have to put the audio up of the show that we did last night too. I think I forgot to do that. So I'll have to do that today too. So I'll get to that in a little while.
What's on Shudder UK? Somebody's saying something's on Shudder UK.
It is on Shudder UK. This movie, Impetigore.
Okay.
Yeah, I wasn't sure because, like I said, I know that sometimes we say it's on Shudder and people in the UK is like, well, it's not on Shudder over here. So, but yeah. So yeah, definitely check it out. And
and Mango Badger, send us a fucking PM.
Yeah, so it's, just through the 13 o'clock or, or through Tom's thing or my thing or whatever. Just send us what sizes you want and what
design. And we need
address
your address. Which
and
address
we will send the stuff out.
Okay.
Probably, because like I said, I have 3 more shirts that have to go out. And so we'll do another mailing sometime this week.
Yeah, and another print.
Yeah. So we will talk to you guys again tomorrow. Thanks everybody for dropping by. Thanks everybody who contributed. We love you guys. Bye.